Wednesday mornings we check in with the member for Ranny, Glen Kelly. Glen, good morning.
Aaron, how are you, mate?
Good. You're down south?
Down south, back into it again at Parliament. This is the second last sitting. One more to go after this. Early December's the last one. Things are pretty full on down here, obviously, because push through as much as we can between now and Christmas because they sort of shut down for a couple of months. So everyone's moving around pretty quickly. This week I've got a hearing this morning with our Prime Industries Committee. It's on biofuels and cogeneration from sugar, so that's something that I'm really working hard on. I think it's certainly got its place when it comes to renewable energy, something that hasn't been looked upon enough when it comes to things like that with this renewable race, or I call it this ridiculous renewable race. So, there's a bit of debate going on with the regulations with our trucking industry, which is very important. Yep. And there's also some stuff about penalties on illicit tobacco. And then I'd say maybe this afternoon, tonight, they'll get into improving the regulations on the building industry. So there's a fair bit going on, but I've got 4 hours of committee this morning with Prime Industries and Resources Committee, so that'll knock the heck out of me before we even start Parliament. So we'll see how we go.
You squeeze a bit into a couple of weeks in Brisbane, don't you? And there is a fair bit to unpack there. I guess one of those stories that is being discussed is the fact that we might see the medals for the Olympics come out of Mount Morgan.
Yeah, look, Aaron, the Mayor brought that up last week, calling for the Olympic medals to be made up in materials out of Mount Morgan, and that is absolutely fantastic. I'm fully supportive of it. But we've been working behind the scenes on that one now for quite a bit with Heritage Minerals, and they're a great team up there to work with. And we had the Premier, a month or better ago now, we had a meeting with Heritage Minerals in our office there, and it was really good to get those guys in with the Prem there. It put a pretty good feeling amongst the room. But, there's still 6 years to go here before the Games, and the one thing is with the medals, I guess, it's the last thing to be done, and it all has to be done through like a tender process. So it'll be undertaken, and we'll be making sure that full support with Heritage will get this one over the line. So watch this space closely, and it certainly puts a bit of excitement into them there hills of Mount Morgan. Like, one thing about it, since I've been in this game, Mount Morgan, we're certainly putting her on the map, put it that way, because it deserves to be there. I'll always stand up for Mount Morgan being part of our patch,
Such a historic town, played such a big role in our history in Queensland, and this would just be a real honour for the town, and as you said, would put it on the map, make it something special.
I think we'll have the potential, Aaron, with the rowing on the Fitzroy River. This has something big for Mount Morgan with the tourism side of things. It's going to leave a legacy. There's a lot more to this than some people realise. This is big, something like this with these medals, if it comes to pass. But not only that, you have all these people in town, and one thing they like to do is get out and have a look around. And when you got Mount Morgan only 30k from, or not even that, from Rockhampton, that's certainly a place I'll certainly go and have a look at,
Morning to everyone in Mount Morgan this morning. What's the latest on our friend Bess?
We had a bit of good news there last week. The temporary local planning instrument that council submitted to the state government last month. So that's been signed off by our Minister, Jared Blay. He was in town last week, and we did a bit of media on that. But this is all about council standing up for communities such as the Boulder Combe area out there and Gracemere areas. Those guys out there push really hard on this, and I back them 150%. Like, this planning instrument is so important to the people out there. The planning instrument wasn't designed for Beth, and I've got this issue in other council areas there right here and now, and it's a bit frustrating when we're familiar with how these developers work. They don't care about communities, they just care about themselves, and I really hope that some other councils are listening to what Rockhampton's done here with the change of the local planning instruments, because that it will help them understand that looking after small communities such as Boulder Combe and then obviously the town of Gracemere is so important to the people, and other councils better take this on board, I think, because Beth is something that is sort of bringing this renewable charge to the towns now. Once upon a time it was out on the farms with the solar panels and the turbines, but Beth is all intertwined with this renewable charge, and they just plonk them in around substations, and where you have big substations, you have a lot of people live, and
sure.
So no, I think other councils should listen to what's going on here and keep a close eye on it, because I take my hat off to Rockhampton Regional Council. The one project out there, AC Energy, they've had a win, but that doesn't mean these other projects are going to have a win. So and while I'm poking around, I'll be in the shadows making sure that these other developers don't have a win. So we'll see what happens.
Well done. And also a bit of a fight for some concerns around a quarry at 9 Mile.
Yes. Look, there's been concerns out at that quarry there on 9 Mile Road, Mountry Road there for a while now, and dust has been a big concern. And I stand with those locals out there. Now, I've been working with council to try and sort this out, and I'm not impressed with the quarry out there are not recognising, one, the dust side of things, but also recognising that what they can and can't do. Like one thing we've noticed, we went out there last week and noticing a lot of the trucks leaving that quarry should have been heading south and they were heading north. And in saying that, the roads are deteriorating out there, and then we've had up to 90 mil to 100 mil over the weekend, and it's not only wrecked the blooming roads out there with the heavy traffic on it, the amount of water that's come out of that quarry and gone into neighbouring properties is an absolute disgrace.
Wow.
I was mortified to see some of the photography of that. And I mean, we need quarries. Quarries are so important.
Yep.
So important. And something like this, with the regulations, one thing that is required is to contain any of the stormwater flows. Well, this hasn't happened. And what this does is make it harder for quarries that are doing the right thing and working hard to make sure that they do the right thing by their locals and community. So, no doubt I'll get a blooming phone call or something or a hit over the head about saying things about it, but not good. And as I say, I'm working with council. They know about it, and things have got to be sorted out there. The quarries for the Rocky Ring Road so important, and but yeah, things have to be looked at as to how it's done and how it's done properly. So I stand up for that community there, and I'll be working to make sure that things get corrected very quickly.
All right, sounds like you're onto that one. Enjoy your next couple of weeks in Brisbane, and we'll catch up next week.
Thanks, Aaron. Look after yourself, mate.
There you go, Glen Kelly, member from Moranny. He'll keep us updated on those few issues, no doubt about it.